Okay, and then I'm going to pull up the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Very good.
Okay, now,
Great. All right. Well, welcome to the Tuesday, November 17th meeting of the Milford Planning and Zoning Board. I would ask everyone to recite the Pledge of Allegiance and observe a moment of silence. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
to the
and to the republic for which it
which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Meg, if you would call the roll.
Sure. Miss Austin? I don't think I saw Nancy. Mr. Castagnoli? Mr. Cater?
Present.
Mr. Collegian? I see you. Miss Kearney? I see Peg too. Mr. Mortimer?
Present.
Mr. Moore?
here.
Mr. Quish?
Here.
Mr. Sadi?
Present.
Mr. Saharides?
Here.
And here
Thank
comes Mr. Castagnoli.
Okay, very good, thanks.
Okay, well, it looks like we have a quorum. So our first order of business is the 5-year capital improvement plan referral pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 8-24 to approve the 5-year capital improvement plan for 2021 to 2025.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
can we have to make an announcement that the public hearings, public hearing number 1, 37 Blair Street, public hearing 2, 535 to 543 Plains Road, and public hearing number 3, 1314 Naugatuck Avenue, have been postponed to the December 1st meeting. So anybody who's here for those public hearings, they're not going to be heard tonight. They've been postponed to the December 1st meeting.
great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So the capital improvement plan, I see Justin Rosen. Justin, would you give us a little overview, please?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes. And see
All
you.
right. Well, perfect. Well, yeah, if I switch over to audio only, it's because my internet's given out. Thank you very much for having me here tonight. I believe it was about a year ago. I came to you with our current capital improvement plan. This one will be for the next 5 years, from 2020 to 2025. Again, this is pretty much a wish list in the city. We meet with all of the departments, including the Board of Education, to come up with a list of priorities and projects that we'd like to see funded at some point in the next 5 years. This in no way commits the city to any funding obligation or approves the project. This merely puts it on a list. This is an extremely helpful tool as we go to explore grant funding, reimbursement, or low interest loans, all from the state or federal government. It helps quite significantly if one of these projects is already on an approved capital improvement plan. Again, most of these are public infrastructure upgrades, from sewer maintenance to wastewater treatment facilities to security upgrades at the Board of Education, to just building enhancements and upkeep all throughout the city. Happy to answer any questions you may have. And thank you for allowing me to be here tonight.
Thank you, Justin. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
The question, I have a couple of questions.
Absolutely.
Mr. Rosen, good evening. Thanks for appearing with us. We're looking at 146 pages. And the first question, I just want to make sure that I get answered, that the request you're concerned with is all public improvements, not any private properties at this point, correct?
Vice Chairman Sadi, that is correct. These are all to public buildings, infrastructure, wastewater treatment facilities, storm lines, 10 miles of road repaving is in here. But yeah, these are all city assets.
And you said there are existing projects and future projects. Assume these are just the regular capital improvements that are made on a yearly basis. Then every budget, it's going to be coming up in the spring, I think, the budgetary process, right?
That's correct. Yeah, this is
Okay.
the first step in the process. If it was approved tonight by your board, it'll go to the Board of Aldermen at their next meeting. And after that, it becomes the current capital improvement plan in which we're eligible to pull projects from. And again, in no way does this project or its layout reflect any level of priority. So,
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosen. Nothing further, Mr. Quish.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, so just as an overview, this again is, there's, a statute that requires this to come in front of our board. We don't really have too much of a dog in the fight, so to speak, and the funding is actually eventually approved by the Board of Aldermen, and then there's a process for each project, whether it's Board of Ed or whether it's municipal sewers or whatever. But it's in front of us now, so without further ado, I'd hear a motion.
Daddy will make a motion to approve as presented, the 5-year capital improvement plan for 2021 to 2025 pursuant to CGS section 824.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any other comments from the board or questions or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Please do a roll call.
Who's asking for a roll call?
I am.
David did.
Yeah. Do the roll.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, yeah, call the roll, please.
Okay.
Meg.
Mr. Castagnoli,
For the motion.
Mr. Cater,
For the motion.
Mr. Collegian,
For the motion.
Ms. Kearney,
For the motion.
Mr. Mortimer,
For the motion.
Mr. Moore,
For the motion.
Mr. Sadi,
With the motion,
Mr. Zaharides,
For the motion.
and Mr. Quish, Chairman Quish.
I'm for the motion.
Thank you.
Motion carries as unanimous. Thank you, Justin, for coming in and offering us that overview.
anytime. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Second order of business is 166 Bridgeport Avenue, Zone CDD2, petition of Linda Baumgarten for a site plan review for a new third floor apartment on map 18, block 367, parcel 2, of which 166 Bridgeport Avenue LLC is the owner. Is the
Yes, that's
applicant
me.
here?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm here. Hi.
Hello, yeah, take it away.
Can you make me a host or however I do this? Or do I just click on share screen to
Yeah,
show?
just click on share screen. You should be able to go. Yep.
All right, beautiful. Thanks very much. And let's see here. Okay, here. All right. Can you all see the slide? Yes? Great. All right. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. I am just a personal representative for the owner of this building. It's an LLC, and there's an existing attic or third floor space that wants to be finished into a two-bedroom apartment. And the biggest objection to this is parking adequacy. So I wanted to explain how that was going to work. So this is, I'm sure many of you have driven down this road many times, and so this is what the building looks like. And again, we appreciate what you're doing. We actually, both myself and the owner of this building, we live and we're residents of Milford, and so we appreciate the care being taken to have this town just keep growing, but also growing and looking good all along the way. So I appreciate your attention on this. So this is what the building looks like. It's on the corner of Daytona Avenue and Bridgeport Avenue. On the main floor, there are 3 businesses. There's Simply Kitchens that is open daytime only, basically 9 to 5, a little bit on Saturday. They also have a Deja Vu boutique, a little clothing store. Again, that's only open during the day. And then Two Friends Pizza House is open from 11 to 11. But the important thing here is that it's takeout only. So there's no, people are coming to pick up their food and leaving. And so the on-street parking right there is hardly ever used. And this is located in the Devon section. That's why we have such beautiful lights there, and the sidewalks look so beautiful. This is a better picture of it, of the building as a whole. On the left, this is a brick building. This is Milford, the newspaper there. And but that's not part of it. So this building that we're discussing goes from Two Friends Pizza Hut all the way to the right to Simply Kitchens. And then up here is the residential section of the building. So currently the way the residential works is that on this second floor right here, can you see if I move my cursor or that doesn't work?
Yeah, if you move your
Works.
cursor, we can see it.
Oh, okay, you can. Okay, beautiful. So this is two side-by-side, one-bedroom apartments. And then the space that we're talking about is up here. It already exists. There's already egress-sized windows. And right now it's just simply being used for storage. And what's the, for one-bedroom apartments, you're required to have 1.5 parking spaces per apartment. And for two-bedroom apartments, as you know, you're required to have 2 parking spaces. So herein lies the challenge. So according to the city planner, there are 7 parking spaces currently existing on the site. Well, actually, he wrote 8, but there's 7 really. 13 are required for the existing uses. So we're already out of compliance. That we don't have enough parking at this building, period. The additional proposed apartment would raise the parking requirement to 15 spaces, just an added 2 spaces. This is the back of the building here. This is a fire, this addition was built 10, 15 years ago. And this is all like a fire coated stairway. It goes downstairs into the basement. Then it goes up to this first level with the 2 side-by-side 1-bedroom apartments. And then up top here is the area that we're requesting to finish off into a 2-bedroom apartment. So I just explained that. And then we know that per the fire marshal department, we do have to put in sprinkler system. That's already been checked out. The code has changed a little bit since then. And because we're adding residential on top of commercial, we will have to put in a full sprinkler system. So as you know, that's quite an investment, right? That's like $40,000, $50,000 worth of investment, but we are committed to the safety of our residents and also of all of our customers. So we are happy to do that. This is the code under which we're asking for parking adequacy. There's actually 2 parts of the code. There's probably more, but it says that parking may be provided on a lot other than the building lot, either in a public lot or a private lot if we had a signed lease. And then here, a little bit more detailed in this section here, where it says as long as the public lot is within 500 feet of the building lot, then that would be approved. Or it should be fine. Let me just make this a little small. There we go. And this is the inset that is on the stamped drawings here. This shows the site, 166 Bridgeport Avenue. There's that brick building in between. And then here's the municipal parking lot. You probably know it as the Devon Farmers Market during the summertime. And so here's another view of it. This is a Google map, and Google nicely measured it for us. That is 300 feet. If you walk from here to here, it's only 300 feet, so we're within that 500 limit. And then I wanted to show you, this is the picture of the parking lot. Almost all the time it is empty. You know, it's used as a farmer's market, but it very rarely is it filled. And then also in the lower right-hand corner, you can tell that there is some street parking, but people really don't use it. It's not like a very congested area. The traffic is congested, but not the parking spaces. So I wanted to point that out. And then I just did a little video for y'all to show how close this is.
Here we are at the end of the pizza place, and I'm walking. There's 1, 2 stores in between. And then here we are at the public parking space. And as you can see, it is empty and provides plenty of parking.
There we go. So I'm showing you all of this just to show that there is parking available, just not behind the building. Now, in the memo that y'all received, part of this meeting, again, this is the back of the building, and the property line ends with this fence here, and then this is a throughway, and then there's other buildings next to it. As you see, there's a utility pole right here, not much that we can do about that. There's one parking space here that's mostly, that could be used by a tenant, or it could be used by Simply Kitchens. Back here, there's a dumpster. We're proposing to put in a dumpster enclosure per today's code. Right now, there's several different dumpsters. This is belongs to Simply Kitchens. I think they take that on the road to their home shows. And then there are spaces marked along the way for the cars. And so he looked at this, and they have a request in today's, with the ability of the board to approve or deny the on-site parking requirements. They would like to have, the applicant should consider providing a new site plan that reduces the on-site parking for the purpose of improving accessibility, pedestrian safety, and added zoning compliance for parking lot design. So, and this can be made a condition of approval. So that's what I want to also discuss with you all today. So this is the part, one section of the map that you saw, this stamped plans. And I'm going to just, so you can see, here's the building. This is Bridgeport Avenue, otherwise known as Route 1. And then this is Daytona Avenue. By the way, we believe the sprinkler system will have to go across here and into the building. We think that's what's going to happen. This is the map shown on its end, so you can see, so that it's aligned the same direction. So here where this fence is, this is the fence right here, and these are parking spaces. And then this is the proposed dumpster area. This is the pizza area where they have, a pizza place comes out, they have a back door there. Nothing really happens here. There's gas meters here that are protected by bollards. There's some mailboxes. And, but this is the sidewalk, and here's the sidewalk here. And I think the city planner is concerned that it would be nice if this was, you know, a nicer apron and had some landscaping to make it look like a pretty building. I'm going to share with you the challenges that I have, but I think that's his request. So this is another side view. Again, here's the building we're discussing. This is a convenience stop right across the street. They do not have any landscaping over here on Daytona Avenue. Parking can cars can swing right into here. There's no protection or anything for pedestrians between the sidewalk and the parking lot. And that's similar to here, because these are both, this is a commercial building, this is a mixed use building. So it's similar in that we don't, if there's no landscaping over here, there's no landscaping here. We did, upon pressure, I wouldn't say pressure, but upon request, come up with some kind of a schematic drawing if we did add landscaping. Apparently the code requires a landscape architect to draw this up. But I wanted to point out a couple of things. As you can tell, to maintain the most parking spaces possible, and if we really map it out, we may end up with fewer parking spaces even, you can barely get any landscaping in here. And whatever space we use for landscaping is going to take away from the swing from the cars and trucks to get in here, for garbage trucks to get in, to get to the dumpster back here. It's very difficult to maintain such small little landscaping anyway. And again, we have this utility pole here. So it just, so anyway, that's our objection to it. I mean, if we have to do it, we have to do it. But we're proposing that it's not really practical in this sense. So the points to consider regarding 5.14, in our opinion, is one, we can't make the building lot any larger. Come on, you have to laugh now. Smile. You can't make the building lot any larger than it is. The utility pole on Daytona Avenue cannot be moved, obviously. Landscaping will remove any parking spaces from the lot. So we could potentially, we could take out one of these parking spaces, or we could take out this parking space. We could do that. We could dig up the tarmac. We could turn that into landscaping if that was really required for the success of this project. It would further reduce the number of parking spaces in here. When I talked to the surveyor who drew up the site plan for you, he said it would just make it much more difficult to get cars in and out of here. And so that's a serious concern that we have. We will work with you if we need to, but that's a serious concern that we have on that. And any landscaping will make maneuverability inside the parking lot more difficult. It will cut into the swing of the cars from Daytona Avenue. And again, the convenience store does not have any protective landscaping right now. So going back to the main purpose of this, which is the parking adequacy, is that the building currently does not have enough parking spaces for their current use, where the 2-bedroom unit will only add a requirement for 2 more spaces. The building lot does have at least 5 parking spaces to take care of the residents, right? So for the apartments, we're required to have 5 parking spaces for sure. The parking lot in the back has enough for that. The zoning code allows us to include street parking and the parking lot within 500 feet, which I showed you, and is very underused. And street parking in the front and on the side is also rarely used, and only just to come pick up their pizza, their slice of pizza, or to meet with, go to the boutique, or maybe to meet with Simply Kitchens. It's just not a whole lot of people using that parking space. And those stores are only open during the day, except again for the pizza place. So, primarily for the residents, there's enough space. For customers, there's enough space right there. And we have the overflow lot if we need to. So we believe that this building would meet the standards of parking adequacy as allowed in the Milford zoning code. So that's what we are requesting for that. I want to remind you that we are not making any changes at all to the outside of the building to complete the apartment on the top floor. It's only an interior renovation. It's only some plumbing and some wires and some, sheetrock. Of course, we have to put in the sprinkler system. That's going to be the biggest expense to make sure that building is safe. And that will bring that building into more compliance, because we are adding a sprinkler system, and it is making the building safer for all who participate with it. And then in either case, we request that y'all approve the parking adequacy by this board so that we can move forward regardless of any ruling on 5.14. Before we can invest any more time and money with surveyors and with the fire department and all of that, we need to know that this project as a whole will get approved with the amount of parking that is the physical limitations of this building lot. And so we request that you rule on parking adequacy regardless of what we decide about 5.14. I hope that's clear. Thank you for your attention. Are there any questions at all that I could answer?
All right, well, thank you very much for that presentation. It was very thorough and informative.
Thank you.
Is there any questions or comments from, actually, David, if you would give an overview first, and then we'll go to the board for questions or comments.
Okay,
And we can get rid of the screen share.
yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Oh, maybe I can.
There we go.
You got it. Great.
Thank you.
And I'm going to put something up, and then I'll read you. Do everyone have a copy of my report? I'm going to read it to you anyway. And I'm going to share. Let me just go over here, go over here. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. Okay. The applicant is requesting to add a 2-bedroom dwelling on the 3rd floor of the existing multi-use building under 3.17.1.9. The existing building has 3 commercial units on the 1st floor, 2 1-bedroom units on the 2nd floor, and a proposed 2-bedroom unit for the 3rd floor. Total bedroom count of 4. 8 parking spaces, although apparently that's under dispute, currently exist on the site, where 13 are required for the existing uses. The additional proposed apartment would raise the parking requirement to 15 spaces. The applicant is seeking parking adequacy under 3.17.3.4. Both myself and the city engineer have recommended that site improvements be made to make the site more zoning compliant and safe for pedestrians utilizing the public sidewalk on Daytona Avenue. The city engineer has made recommendations in his letter of 5/11/20. Parking is shown to intrude in the public right-of-way, and the apron to utilize the parking area is obstructed by the parking spots. with the ability of the board to approve or deny the on-site parking requirements under 317.3.4. The applicant should consider providing a new site plan that reduces the on-site parking for the purposes of improving accessibility, pedestrian safety, and added zoning compliance for the parking lot design in accordance with the provisions of section 5.14 of the zoning regulations. This can be made a recommendation of approval. And now I will share the site plan here. Oops, give me 2 seconds. And I'll just specifically show you what we're talking about here. Okay. So this is the apron that is being used to enter the parking lot. And as you saw in the pictures that Linda provided, you have a trailer that's parked along here. When this is really the access to the lot here. So this parking space is a problem. Now, my report doesn't say anything about having to re-landscape the entire site, but it would be recommended that this parking spot be eliminated. And like we do currently for anything new that's being developed, have a barrier. In this case, it could be a landscaped island or something that narrows the apron to where vehicles actually travel and makes this a safer place for pedestrians to go by the driveway. We're not asking for other things on the lot. If they want to propose that, that'd be great. But this property and the parking that's there, you know, this was never designed. This is just parking that we like to say just sort of organically, you know, became into existence, because the chances are that building and that house probably there were no cars or very few parking standards at the time this was built. So it's great that they have parking. They're asking you for parking adequacy, and if you grant parking adequacy, which you can do, instead of giving the adequacy for the extra spaces just for the apartment, you can add into that adequacy the removal of this space. So G, where we need 15 spaces, you know, on site, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. So you'd be giving them parking adequacy for the difference between the 6 spaces and the 15 spaces. And then they could design something here to narrow the driveway and make this, and they should also address this area here, because again, this is an area where there's no barrier between this space and the sidewalk, and do something here. It's a win for everybody. They don't have enough parking now. They're not going to ever have enough parking on site. You can grant them their adequacy for off-site, and we end up with a better sidewalk situation along Daytona Avenue that would better mirror the lovely sidewalk design in the front of the building. You know, it would be a much more pleasant place to walk by. So that's the staff report on this.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question.
Yes, please go.
Do you have to lease the other spots over in the city parking lot?
No.
You said you'd have to lease 10 spots or something over there to make.
If we were using a private parking lot, then it says that we have to show a lease for the private parking lot, but since this is owned by the city, we don't have to show a lease. That's my interpretation.
So they can just park there. I mean, in downtown, you have to pay to park at the train station.
Mhm.
And what happens in the summertime when the farmer's market wants to come back in there? What happens to those spaces?
Well, it's like 4 hours once a week. So that's the only time that it's open.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Nobody has to pay for that parking.
No, they do not have to pay for parking.
Okay.
Mr. Quish, I have a number of questions, please. This is the first one through the chair to Mr. Sulkus. You issued a letter by email on October 29th of 2020 indicating to the applicant that you were not going to be certifying this application as zoning compliant under 7112. Is that accurate, Mr. Sulkus?
That's correct.
Now to the applicant, there is also in our materials for the record, a 3-page document that starts off with your original application, September of 2019, and was updated April 13th of 2020. And first and foremost, to the applicant, you would agree that you don't meet the appropriate size requirements and that your square footage is less than 750 square feet, correct?
No, for the 1-bedroom apartments or the 2-bedroom? The
1-bedroom apartment.
The 1-bedroom apartment, we have enough space for the 1-bedroom.
I don't see it on your plans. Can you just point out where in the plans it shows that it's 750 square feet or more?
Mr. Sadi?
Yes.
I can tell you that the apartment sizes do meet the zoning requirements, and the 2 single apartments that are there are pre-existing anyway, but they do meet the requirements.
Okay, so that was changed. We have number 6. You were supposed to provide a planned set of stamp sheets. On item number 6, was that done either Mr. Baumgarten or Mr. Sulkus? Because I don't see them.
Yes, that was dropped off on Friday. Mr. Sulkus, you have those. Well, that's in the download from today.
Well, there's no download from today that I'm aware of. The documents we have are the documents that have been submitted to the board. The only thing that we have signed is a survey.
Okay, so
Just to Mr.
go ahead.
Sulkus, I don't see any of these documents. Is this what was put into a Dropbox? I don't see them.
Yeah, all the documents that we received were put into the Dropbox, and you should be able to get through your link on the agenda. So there would be,
okay.
yeah, there would be my original review from April. There's the survey drawings. There's the ground floor. There's the existing apartments and the new dumpster enclosure. There's the proposed 2-bedroom apartment. There's the petition for the site plan review. There's a request for parking adequacy that Linda sent in, I think it was yesterday. The administrative summary, the applicant's reply to the review in April, the city engineer's letter, the fire department review, the sewer commission review, and that letter that you just mentioned from October.
Okay, I don't see them, but that I'm taking your word for that. So there's a dumpster enclosure design elevation was submitted and it's in compliance with these zoning regulations. This is to Mr. Sulkus through the commission, for the chair, please.
No, they submitted a dumpster enclosure on the site plan. We don't have elevations. There's no design of it. It's just shown on the survey.
That compliant with our zoning regulations, Mr. Sulkus?
That is not.
Okay. And then the landscape plan is in
Excuse me one
dispute. That's
second. Excuse me, on the drawing for, it is their elevations on the one for the map that the drawing that shows the 2 1-bedroom apartments. There's also on their elevations right there on that drawing.
On which sheet?
Yeah, there's a detail of the fencing around the dumpster.
Yes.
Which sheet, Linda, which sheet was that?
So let me go back to where the agenda is so I can.
Yeah, you know, Linda, why don't you give her a shared screen again so she can show it?
Sure. Okay.
All right, too many screens open. Okay, here we go. Here. So it looks like this. What's going on? Share. Oh, share. Okay. So this is the drawing, the pencil drawing. This is done by Jim McElroy, who's an architect here. And this is the one that has the, let me see this one. Nope.
Another drawing.
Right here. So here's the 2 1-bedroom apartments. And then over here shows the enclosures and the drawings for the dumpster.
I sit corrected.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sadi, does that answer your question, or are you looking for a stamped site plan?
well, the materials that we got didn't seem to have these issues. So I'll deal with it next. But I can go on. I have some other areas. The building next door, this is for Ms. Baumgartner.
Yes.
You indicated was what kind of an establishment, please?
Across the street is a convenience store, one
No,
stop.
the one that's next door. So it would be heading towards Bridgeport on Bridgeport Avenue.
Right,
Right.
on Bridgeport Avenue.
Yeah, 162, I believe is the address.
That is, where the red brick building is, that one?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's Milford Mirror has their headquarters there. There's an apartment on top of that, and then next to it is the like another boutique, clothing boutique place, and then there's the Devon parking lot.
And again, is there any additional buildings that are used 24 hours a day? There's no clubs in there. There's no
No,
other use of the building.
that's a good question. No, there isn't.
Okay. I have no other questions at this point, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the board? So yes, I have a question or a comment. Is the loss of, and this is a question to the applicant's rep, is the loss of parking lot number 6 going to be a detriment to the development of the property and the beneficial use of the property in your perspective?
I think that it will make it more difficult for cars to go in and out of the parking lot because you're taking up that much space. And especially if we're doing some kind of a barrier between the sidewalk and the parking lot, even just a fence will be one more thing that cars have to go in and around. But certainly, yeah, so that's my opinion. Is it impossible? No. But again, we're only doing something to the inside of the building, not anything to the outside. I would think at some point the parking lot might have to be addressed, but that's a whole different project.
Gotcha. To Mr. Sulkus, do you see, would you interpret your comments and the city engineer's comments as requiring demolition of the existing apron and installing a new one in a different configuration?
Yeah, because if you're looking at here, let me share this. Hold on. Okay. Because this is the concrete apron, and on the photo that Linda showed you, this is the trailer sitting here. The actual access way into the lot is through here. So if this area here is landscaped and separates the parking area from the sidewalk, and this area has some landscaping and separates it from the sidewalk, all you need is the entryway here. So this concrete would have to be removed, and the sidewalks there would have to be.
Right. So therein lies the problem in my mind. I think we're adding an enormous expense to a project that is kind of a small project. I mean, the sprinklers is a lot of money. To rip up the concrete and pour a new apron is a lot of money. And I don't know that I don't think pedestrians are any safer on an improved sidewalk, and whether or not there is a curb cut of a certain dimension and it's used for less because there is a trailer there or any other vehicle there. I mean, people will be able to go in and out of the parking lot. I personally think that a fence might be nice along the to the back of the building, to the beginning of the curb cut, and even a fence and block off number 6, but to make them pick up the concrete and pour a new apron is just, to me, huge expense for absolutely no benefit to anyone anywhere. That's my thoughts.
I can attest that it's very expensive. Cement is incredibly expensive right now.
I understand that. I do understand that. And so my personal opinion is that it's good to make sure that any improvement to a building is actually an improvement to the neighborhood and the village as well. So I get the fact that it would be nice to, dress it off a little bit, but I I would not encourage, tens of thousands of dollars of additional expenses for one additional apartment. I just think that we want to be more business friendly, or I do personally, and encourage development in Devon. But that's my 2 cents. Any other questions or comments?
I would just say that we're looking to add spaces and to get rid of one seems a little counterintuitive. I mean, I get the safety concerns, but it doesn't seem to follow logically to get rid of that one space.
Yeah, but we do have the lot that is, and I drive by there every day, is, not used very much. And irrespective of the fact, if there was only 2 spots there now, we could find parking adequacy, because there is both on-street parking on both Post Road and on the side street Daytona and the public lot. So I think that, possibly if the trailer was kept somewhere else and parking spaces were specifically for the residents, then it might be something that functions well and doesn't add an undue financial burden on the developer or the owner, our neighbor.
This is a question. Is there any liability for the residents parking in that city property parking space?
I don't know who wants to field that. David, you want to try?
It's public parking. It's like parking on the street. So, you park at your own risk. Anybody can use it.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Only that if we want to add landscaping, I don't know that it needs to be on the frontage there on the sidewalk. It could be along the fence, which I guess there's a fence there separating the 2 properties.
There is a fence, there is a fence on both, on the 2 inner sides. And, you could put some plantings there, but if you think about it, it's very difficult to maintain that kind of landscaping. Cars are parking in, they're parking out. And I was told that I had to hire a landscape architect to deliver that. And that was just adding more expense, but bigger question is, does that add to the safety of it? Certainly, as you can tell, the building is very well maintained, and the owner of the building maintains it very well, and keeps the store tenants have been there for quite a long time, which indicates being happy. So we want to be a contribution to the neighborhood. That's all.
So a question to the applicant: could you comply with everything that the engineer and the city planner wanted, and if you just removed the requirement that a new apron be put in play?
You know what, when we looked at it and I showed it to the site surveyor or the engineer, it almost sounded like we had to dig up the entire parking lot to make sure that there was new drainage, and which is newer environmental codes. It was not just going to be just the apron. It would, if you're going to do that, you have to lead into the whole parking lot. It was, and when we looked at so anyway, to answer that question, it wouldn't be, you could do it, but it's a much bigger project. You might as well lead into the whole parking lot.
I'm trying to help you here.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, could we do it? Yes. I mean, could we just do so your question is what now? Say it again.
Just eliminate number 6. You could put.
We could certainly do that. If we have to do that, yes. If that would help, yes, we could certainly do that, and have the other parking spaces. Yes. And then
we would be then requested to find parking adequacy without number 6.
Correct. Yes.
Just to make the board aware of something, you can condition things as you may on the property. If the city engineer is in charge of the public right of way, ultimately, if he tells the applicant they have to do something with their apron, they're going to have to do it. So even if the board said, oh, you don't have to do it, the city engineer could say, oh, yeah, you do, because that's under his jurisdiction. Just letting you know.
So whether or not,
I did meet with the city engineer and he said it was really up to the city planner. So he made his recommendations. So there you go, David. It's up to the city planner at some point.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but
Okay. All right.
his letter is just, part of the record. And
Yes, of course.
I'm sure, knowing the city engineer, he didn't cede any of his responsibilities to me, nor I to him.
Okay.
all right, well, it's up to the board at this point. Is there any other questions or comments from the board? Well, it's in our hands to do whatever, so I would hear a motion.
Chairman,
Motion can be as written or it can be adjusted however.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Joseph.
yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the petition of Linda Baumgartner for a site plan review for a new third floor apartment on map 18, block 67, parcel 2, of which 168 Bridgeport Avenue LLC is the owner.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from the board? Seeing none, Meg, would you call the roll?
Okay, Mr. Castagnoli,
Show your,
For the motion.
okay, Mr. Cater,
For the motion.
Mr. Collegian,
I'm with the motion.
Ms. Kearney,
For the motion.
Mr. Mortimer,
For the motion.
Mr. Moore,
With the motion.
Mr. Sadi,
Against the motion.
Mr. Zaharidis,
For the motion.
and Mr. Quish.
I'm with the motion.
Thank you.
And
Thank
for-
you so much. We really appreciate your assistance on this.
And just for clarification, Mr. Chair, that the approval does not include the proposed conditions. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So Meg, there was a couple of breakups on my audio. Was that unanimous?
Yes, it was.
Okay, thanks very much for that.
You're welcome.
So does that,
Through the chair, I voted against it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I must have broken up too. I'm sorry, Mr. Sadi.
so to clarify, this will meet the parking adequacy. We do not need to do landscaping at this time.
Exactly right.
Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate your assistance.
Thank
Take
you.
care of yourselves. And stay safe, everybody.
Yes, you too, please.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you.
Okay, the public hearings will not be heard tonight. And we go to liaison reports. Are there any?
I do have a brief liaison report, Mr. Chair. I'm on the Southern Connecticut Regional Council of Governments. We did have a meeting last week. We had one last month. Nothing that impacts us. The closest was Woodbridge. But I just want to report that I've been attending the meetings, that we've been now back up and running. We were down for quite some time. Thank you.
Thank you. Subcommittee reports. We do have two subcommittees, regulations and POCD. And those minutes have been circulated to the full board, which they will be after every meeting. And we do not have a date for the next meetings yet, but we will soon, and you will all be informed. Next item of business is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Peggy, second?
Second.
Mr. Cater. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, minutes are approved. Chair's report, I have none, except for thank you all for your focus and energy and attention. Next, staff report.
Nothing this evening.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well done. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.